Okay, so when I say the word Lapland, I'm pretty sure I know exactly where your brain goes.
Absolutely.
It goes to, a very specific shade of red, a certain bearded man.
A reindeer with a glowing nose, probably.
Exactly. It's the ultimate postcard. Santa Claus, these perfect snow-covered trees, the northern lights. It's a brand so strong it almost feels, I don't know, like a Disney movie instead of a real place on a map.
It's arguably one of the most successful tourism branding campaigns in history. But, the problem with postcards is that they're two-dimensional.
Right.
They freeze a place in time, and they just strip away all the context. And when you actually start to peel back that layer of holiday magic in northern Finland, you find something vastly more complex.
That's exactly what struck me going through the research for this step dive. I mean, we have travel guides from high-end resorts, sure, but we've also got architectural histories and these heavy-hitting UN human rights reports. And it turns out this winter wonderland is a region recovering from total annihilation in the 1940s. And right now, it's the battleground for a massive indigenous rights struggle.
It's a place of extreme duality. You have the magic that pulls in the tourists, and then you have the gritty and often really painful reality for the people who actually live there.
So that's our mission today. We're going to go beyond the travel brochure. We need to unpack the sensory reality of the Arctic, which is so much more intense than just it's cold.
Oh, definitely.
But we also need to understand why the capital city is shaped like a reindeer and, why the indigenous Sami people are fighting against the very green energy that's supposed to save the planet.
And you really can't separate those things. The tourism, the history, the politics, it's all tangled together in the snow.
Let's start with the hook, though. The reason people fly there in the first place, the sensory experience. I was reading through these guides for husky safaris, and I was expecting, the usual descriptions of speed and snow. But there was this phrase that kept popping up. Audio minimalism.
I love that term. It captures something that photos just can't.
It's so counterintuitive, right? Because I picture dog sledding as just chaos.
Ugh, toys.
You've got 50 dogs, they're all hyped up, barking their heads off. It seems like the loudest thing you could possibly do in a quiet forest.
And that is exactly how it starts.
Yeah.
The departure is absolute cacophony. The adrenaline is high, the dogs are just screaming to run, but the sources all highlight this one specific moment. The second the brake is released and the sleds actually move.
And the barking just stops.
Instantly. Because they have a job to do.
Right.
And suddenly you go from this total chaos to this rhythmic, heavy silence. All you can hear is the panting, the paws packing down the snow, and the sound of the runners gliding.
It sounds almost meditative.
It becomes this trance-like state. And it's so important to remember, this isn't just a roller coaster ride for tourists. For thousands of years, this was the primary technology for survival.
That's where the hierarchy comes in, which I found fascinating. I always assumed the musher, the human, was the boss.
Right.
But the guides make it pretty clear. The lead dog is the CEO of this operation. The musher is more like the board of directors, just offering polite suggestions.
It's a partnership, not a dictatorship. The lead dogs are chosen for their intelligence, not just their speed. They have to read the trail. Then you have the wheel dogs at the back, providing all the raw muscle. It's a whole social structure pulling you through the wilderness.
And speaking of that wilderness, we have to talk about the light. Because I think most people, myself included, assume the Arctic winter is just black. Lights out for 3 months.
That is such a common misconception. The Finns have a word for the polar night, kamos. And it's not pitch black. In November and December, even though the sun never gets above the horizon, you get this thing called the blue moment.
The descriptions of this are just wild. It's a specific time in the afternoon where everything turns indigo.
It's a twilight that turns the entire world into this watercolor painting. The snow reflects the blue light from the upper atmosphere. It feels mystical, almost like you're underwater. But the contrast is what's so interesting. If you go just a few months later, say March or April, you get what's called the spring winter.
That sounds like an oxymoron.
It does, but it's the locals' favorite time of year.
Yeah.
The sun is back, the snow is still deep, and the reflection is so intense it's actually blinding. You cannot go outside without sunglasses.
So you have these seasons defined entirely by the quality of the light.
Exactly.
Of course, we can't talk seasons without mentioning the one thing the travel brochures always seem to conveniently crop out.
Ah, yes.
The summer reality, the raka,
The biological air force.
the mosquitoes. I was laughing out loud reading about this. You have this pristine, untouched wilderness, but the second the snow melts, the wetlands turn into a breeding ground for these industrial-sized swarms of insects.
It's a good reality check. We tend to romanticize Arctic nature as this pure, benevolent force. But the Braque reminds you that nature here is aggressive. It bites.
It's a barrier.
It creates a barrier that arguably keeps the wilderness wild because it's not exactly comfortable for casual hiking without some serious industrial strength repellent.
So you've got the biting reality of nature, but then you have the Instagram reality that's taken over. I mean, I'm seeing these glass igloos everywhere online.
Oh yeah.
It feels like the ultimate paradox. You want to be in the rugged wild, but from a heated bed with room service.
It's the commodification of the view. Places like the Aurora Queen Resort have perfected this. You're inviting the Aurora Borealis into your bedroom, but you're walling off the minus 30-degree wind. It's accessible wilderness.
Right.
But what's interesting to me is that when you look at these modern, sleek structures, and even the city of Rovaniemi itself, everything looks so new.
That's the thing. You go to other European cities, you're tripping over cobblestones from the 16th century. In Rovaniemi, it's all mid-century modern or newer. And there is a very, very dark reason for that.
This is the history that gets buried under all that snow. Rovaniemi isn't new because it's a young city. It's new because it was erased.
This brings us to 1944, World War II. Finland's in this incredibly complicated position, trying to get German troops out of their territory as part of a peace deal with Moscow.
And the German army, as they retreated north into Norway, they used scorched earth tactics. They didn't just leave, they destroyed everything that could possibly be useful. Bridges, roads, communication lines.
And Rovaniemi, being the capital and a big transport hub, was the main target.
The stats are horrifying.
90% of the city burned.
Imagine that. You have a city, and then a week later you have ash. Only 13 houses were left standing.
13.
In the entire town. So when the war ended, there was essentially nothing to return to. The people had been evacuated, and they came back to a moonscape of chimneys and debris.
And that's when Alvar Aalto comes in. He's arguably Finland's most famous architect. He gets the commission to rebuild the capital. And this is where the story gets bizarrely literal. He decides to rebuild the city in the shape of a reindeer.
It sounds like a legend, doesn't it? But it's the actual city plan.
I have to play devil's advocate here. It sounds a bit gimmicky, like we have nothing left, so let's make a giant cartoon on the map. Was this actually functional design or just an ego project?
That's a valid question. But Aalto was a functionalist at heart. He wasn't just doodling. The reindeer antler plan, where the main roads curve out like antlers from the center, was designed to work with the topography. But more importantly, the sources detail how he designed the housing blocks specifically for the Arctic climate.
How so?
He calculated all the solar angles. The buildings were oriented to maximize solar gain from the southwest, trying to trap every little calorie of heat from that low winter sun. And he minimized the facades facing north to block the freezing polar winds.
So the reindeer shape was symbolic, but the execution was pure survival architecture.
Exactly. High-tech for the time.
And the eye of the reindeer is the sports stadium.
All right, correct. The eye is the central sports field. It anchors the whole design.
It's amazing that a city with this high-concept pedigree actually owes its biggest tourist attraction to a total accident.
Oh, the Roosevelt cabin. It's a perfect example of the chaos of diplomacy.
So, set the scene. It's 1950, Rovaniemi is barely back on its feet, and suddenly they get word that Eleanor Roosevelt, widow of the US president, basically global royalty, is coming to visit the Arctic Circle.